Hey, thanks for joining. I'm your host, Chris Gennaro. My co-host is Rizk, and today we have Weeping. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're always doing good. I guess let's just intro. You're a three-piece band, and we got two of you guys. So
yeah, Pigeon works the night shift, so he couldn't make it, even though he really wanted to. But
okay,
sorry, he's a quiet guy, so he probably said we're just floating over here the whole time.
So introduce yourselves.
All right, yeah. So I'm Theo. I play guitar and I sing.
John, I drum.
Okay. And actually, let's change it up a little bit. John, you are new to the band, correct?
Yes, I joined like 2 months ago, officially.
Okay. So how's that been? Let's just get started with that.
Been definitely the most consistent group of people I played with.
I mean,
I love that.
You were in some like notable bands prior.
Yeah. I used to play in this band, Line of Scrimmage, and they were older guys, so life just gets in the way at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's understandable, but I just love what we're doing now, man. I love to keep active.
Yeah, being an older person myself, I get how that is. So my heart.
Yeah, no, I feel it now, man. But hey.
Yeah, the effects of aging are really bad at 24.
Is that how you guys old you guys are, 24-ish?
Yeah. Are you 24 yet?
Yeah.
I'm about to turn 24 on Friday. So yeah, not there yet, but
cool. So you don't have wives or kids bothering you about band practice or anything, right?
Well, yeah, we don't. Pigeon is a father, even though he's like 2 years older than us. But
okay,
so he's on his real life shit right now. But yeah, no, we're all pretty young, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into the video you guys just did. Blood Matted Blade. It looks like it was premiered on Metal Injection, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was done by a guy named Ed. I keep wanting to say Eduardo, but it's Ed.
It is Eduardo, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Eduardo Ruiz. How did that all come about?
So, well, the video, like, we wanted to just do a video for the song, just because after we were in Florida and we recorded our EP, and then while we were there, we picked Blood Matted Blade, and then in all of us except like Mike knew Eduardo from like some of his past bands. Like Mike had toured with some bigger acts that he'd crossed paths with Eduardo. But then I had known Eduardo from like playing local shows when I was like 16 or 17. Like he's in a band called Refinement that's like still active, that he was in back then, like 5-6 years ago. Then I was in some like my like high school like deathcore band at the time, so I'd met him through there. And then so we had hit him up like on like the spot, like on like New Year's when we came back from Florida to take some promo pictures. And so from there we just kind of started talking about doing a video. And then he kind of just like gave me like a bunch of little like, I don't know, just like pushes in the right direction as to like how to direct it, like where are we gonna have it, what are we gonna do. And what's funny is that like I had this like really, I don't want to say like elaborate, but like a little more involved idea. But like all the people that said, yeah, dude, I'll definitely be there when you're shooting your video, like all bailed like last minute, except for our homie Alex, who is the one in the video. So we had to just kind of like make do with what we had.
He's the guy in the robes.
Yeah. He plays guitar in Beastial Tongues.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
And he played live guitar with us sometimes because he did before. Like we had, I think it was 2 shows before John joined up with us, and we had Mike, our prior drummer, obviously, and then we also had our friend Alex play like live guitar just to have 2 guitars. But Mike had to go, and he's like touring with a band called Uniform from New York now. So like that's kind of they're like
they're pretty big. They're popular.
Yeah, they're a pretty big project.
So he's playing live drums for them. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, he actually started his his first day of tour today. So good luck, Mike.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, so then after that, we've just had John, and then Alex has had like a career change. So he's been a little more busy between us and Beastial Tongues. So he's been prioritizing his own project the last so he hasn't been able to play with us these last few shows. But maybe that'll happen again someday. So Yeah. Also was the single homie who showed up to our to when we were doing our video in my basement and helped us out there. So that's most of the story with that. It was like I'd never shot a music video before, so like that was a really cool experience for me. And then like I'd say like mostly positive I guess response was nice too. You know, it is a weird thing to get used to.
It looks super professional. I think it even adds more to know that there was like some elaborate story, yet it's just the one dude with the robes who shows up, and then he's got to be like his own one-man show then.
Yeah, and then like Alex is like, we kept trying to like make it so that you couldn't tell it was him, because I feel like if you like know us, like you know Alex is like he's always there with us, so it'd be like, all right, we can't make it obvious, we just put Alex in a robe, so it's just like any other day with Alex in a robe, you know. But yeah, it's cool to see that.
So for people just following along at home, Pigeon is Anthony, who is also in Beastial Tongues with your buddy Alex, and that's how everything lines up and connects.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you guys play with them and make Pigeon do double duty, or
we're actually going to? It hasn't happened yet, but we have a show in New Brunswick on November 14th. It's Beastial Tongues' first show. And I think it's like, I'm pretty sure Beastial Tongues is playing first and we're playing last. So like he has to have that like long layover too. He doesn't just get to knock them out at the same time. So sucks for him.
Oh, well, okay. While you mentioned playing in New Brunswick, I think you guys did a live show at Chamber 43.
Yeah, we had one. It was our first show in June. And that was like, it was really cool because I forgot how I got into contact with Jimmy, the owner, via Instagram. And then what happened was it was in June. I was on my way to Philly. And I was in a car and I got like in an accident. I got hit by an 18-wheeler from like behind, and thankfully everybody was good, but car was like destroyed. So I had nothing to do the next day. So I was like, hey, Pigeon, hey, Alex, can you guys drive me to New Brunswick so we can go and set up the show with the guy from Chamber? And like, just like the day after, just like acting like nothing happened at like the coffee shop. Just being like, hey, you want to book the show? And he's like, yeah, what day? And it was like, that was way too easy, but all right, cool. So that's how our first show came about.
Okay. I mean, I only just recently learned about this place, and it was just kind of interesting because as I'm popping around the internet, I saw a couple different shows where people are like playing on this second story, like above an office in a record store. So they're like 15 feet high, and they're like playing down, and like it's crazy.
On the stairs.
Yeah, they like, so it's a coffee shop and a record store. So like where the crowd was standing was like where there was like those kind of shelves with like records on them. So like I think it was still early in Jimmy doing shows there. So like he didn't move them. I think now he's moved them. So like I've seen some shows where he's had him like on the floor where like, you know, the band isn't like elevated in the sky. And so like, but before there was just records there, so like he couldn't move them for some reason, so they just had the bands play up there, which was kind of cool. I don't know.
So are the bands now on the floor instead of like perched up in like the rafters?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, because we're actually playing there on this Friday. Again, it's I booked a birthday show for myself because I didn't know what else to do on my birthday. So
happy birthday in advance to you.
Thank you.
Actually, though, all right, did this happen when it was the old configuration? Was there any 20 feet stage dives off the stage, or would you people dive? Maybe no, it's too high.
I mean, no, we just had come on, yeah, just like my phone said it was on low power, but we're good. Okay. If you want to plug that in, that'd be cool. Yeah, no, sadly nobody's stage dove. I think one of the first bands was like the singer was like leaning over the like the railing and like broke a piece of it. But yeah, no, nobody's dove from there. But okay. I don't know, man. I don't think I could survive that. I'm not built for that.
Yeah.
No, I've seen people hit the floor from a 5 foot, maybe even less, like a 4 foot stage, and it's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
Yeah, no.
Terrible stories.
Yeah, like I've been at hardcore shows and stuff like locally, and I've seen like whenever there is like any kind of like amount of stage, like at some point, like I'm just gonna be like, yo, I'm not catching this guy, and then you're just gonna eat it, and like I don't know, I'm just not in the mood to just have the worst belly flop ever at a show. Definitely wouldn't be a good time for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Since you mentioned birthdays, I was going to ask you about the third track name. It seems like it's in Greek.
Yep.
Okay. And when I went to translate it, it came up with something like a phrase about aging or birthdays or something like it was like it seemed like it was maybe a Greek saying. So what's the?
So what I think happened is like, so sometimes when it's your birthday, people will say the first half of that sentence. It'll be like nazisus. So it'll be like, essentially, if you like translate to English, it'll be like, I hope you like live like to not directly translate it to English, but what they're saying is like, I hope you live like long and like happily. You know what I mean? What they're literally saying is just like live on. Like if you just translate it directly to English, but the whole phrase means to live and die. It's just because when we were in a band, me and Pigeon used to be in this band called Kong before Weeping, and he used to just always like joke with me because I can speak Greek. My family's from Greece, and he was like, "Do a mosh call in Greek," and I'm like, "No." It was like initially what I said, and he was like, "How do you say to live and die is all the same?" And it's like Nazis Kanapathanish or Lataidia, and so we just cut the all the same out and just use that as the title for the song. And also because like when I was kind of like writing lyrics like as we were doing vocals for that song, like towards the end, and he was like, just throw that in there that's like the last lyric in it, and I was like, that fits so well. So it's just that's how that came to be.
You don't want to do like the whole song in Greek?
I mean, I feel like the way my vocals are, like I feel like nobody would really be able to tell if I did. Like definitely more Greek stuff coming. I don't know, I like doing the Greek stuff.
Yeah, one of my good friends that I used to play with is Greek, so I'm very familiar with the Greek stuff. And the Greek Easter is a little different than the the regular Easter. It's like on a different day and stuff.
Just talking about that.
Yeah, you know the Windex, you know.
Yes, I saw that movie. References. Yes, yeah. I didn't see that at his house, but actually, you know what the funniest thing was that his mom, I hope she's not listening, I doubt she is. She used to curse like crazy, but you couldn't curse in the house in Greek. Like that would be like, that's a real curse. Like that would be no, but she would come and she'd be like, you motherfucker. And like, that was fine, you know, but like the Greek cursing was just that was not okay.
It's more real. I can definitely attest to that. Like if your parents are cursing in Greek, like you fucked up, man.
Yeah, okay.
I was trying to figure out a little bit about like your record labels. You're listed as an indie band on Metal Archives, but you look like you have a deal with Frozen Screams and a merchandising deal with Night Shift. So what's the deal there? What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean it's not like so with Frozen Screams it's just like a distribution thing. He just makes the tapes. I mean, like we rep it like it's a label because he just does like help us out and stuff with like all the physical merchandise or like the physical music rather. The he like prints the tapes like and we like split it, but it's not like a record label exactly. Like he identifies more as like a distro. Like, but it is like the lines are somewhat blurred.
They're very blurry. Yeah.
But John is really cool. He actually just like messaged us like quite literally moments after I posted the demo on Bandcamp. I actually didn't think it was like a real thing. I was like, yeah, all right, bro. You want to put this out, and it's like I just posted up 5 minutes ago. Like, okay, I don't buy that. You have to
send him a
like,
$500 advance or something like that.
I just like
teams where it's like, they give you a check and they're like, oh, actually, I wrote the check for like too much, so just send me that much back. And I'll
send me the difference.
One of those like weird elaborate.
It's a wire transfer,
Wire transfer, that's right.
I thought it was like the death metal equivalent of like those emails you get where it's like your half cousin was like a prince in this far off country. Please give us your social security number and you have $1 million. Like it was like the death metal version of that where I'm like, oh, somebody already likes this? No way.
So you got that response off the first EP?
Yeah, off the demo that we put out. in November of 2020. And then we came into Kareem from Night Shift via our producer Hunter in Florida, and like we genuinely just like went to the Night Shift warehouse to like buy merch on our way back up. And then he just kind of said like, hey, if you guys ever want to put out a shirt, let me know. And I was like, I'm gonna hold you to that. And then like, you know, a few months later when we had all the designs and stuff ready and we were like ready to put the EP out, like I contacted him and he was cool, and he was like still down. I was like, awesome. Like
yeah, I went to that website. They have a lot of cool stuff on there actually.
Right?
You know, it's funny because you mentioned hardcore, and like I was seeing like all like a lot of hardcore shirts I had in the 90s like are now like on his website. So I was like, oh shit, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's just making like a resurgence. It's cool to see that like in like a place like Night Shift, right?
Yeah, so does like, so you don't even have to give him an upfront and he just prints the shirts and then takes a cut or something?
The way it's been working is, yeah, he's been fronting the shirts for us, and then when we sell them, we pay off his like however much it costs for him to print them, you know. So
he takes his cut first, and then maybe down the road you'll get some money if he sells out.
I mean, he usually sends us shirts himself. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
like you get a portion of the run.
Yeah. So like he prints some for us, and then we pay him for that.
Okay.
Like however many he sends to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of record labels used to work like that. Like, you know, and because you said the lines were blurry, like, you know, like you would record the stuff and you would send it to them and they would press 500 and you would get 100, but you wouldn't see jack shit from anything else, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I don't think, like, I think it's at a point now where like nobody's really seeing like crazy like amounts in the first place. So like, it's kind of just like, they're doing us the solid of like printing whatever tapes, shirts, and then like we just pay the difference for however much it costs them to make it, and then we can keep whatever we can to, you know, make more tapes and shirts.
Yeah, it was cool because you had a like super low print runs, which I thought was really cool. I mean, the fact that you can even get like 100 you know 12 inches made is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
but it's also kind of cool for the fans, like, well shit, if you're going to get this red vinyl record, like that's pretty like 100 is just about as limited as it gets, you know.
Yeah. We haven't, so like there's a like a big delay on vinyl right now, so we still haven't even seen the Ethereal Suffering vinyls yet because you know COVID backed everything up. Yeah.
Do you know when that's going to come out? I mean, the pictures look super cool.
Yeah, right. The pictures look sick. But so they were supposed to initially, they should, like, I think when we put in like the orders in May, I think they said like, yeah, sometime like mid-October it should be here. And so then now they're like, yeah, later. Not yet.
So they were supposed to come out right around now, and now it's just going to be just delayed in, you know.
Yeah. It's all right.
I think you guys started in 2016.
So yeah, weird thing about Old Weeping is so like immediately after I had it was like right when I was about to go to college, I was in like a band with like my friends from high school, and you know when you're like a freshman in college, like you're not allowed to have like your car. So I was like, yeah, no way I'm gonna be able to like come back and forth here, guys. So I'm like deucing. So then I just started, like, I came up with the name Weeping myself, and then I had Mike was in the band with me, but we had my friend Zach play bass, but like the inspiration was totally different than what it is now. It was like more in the vein of like No Zodiac and like kind of like beat down kind of bands like that. I was also singing and playing guitar then still. We played like one show, and it was a benefit for Rocks for Locks, you know, that like the cancer wig foundation. And then like after we played like our whole set of like 4 songs, and then the other band came out. It was like a regular local show. So like the next band came on stage and they literally say, this is what is it like? So this is a song by Mayday Parade. And like they play like a Stratocaster, like, you know how it's like on clean, it's like way louder than like, you know, some distorted guitar. So then the second they go bling, like the cop car shows up and shuts the whole show down. And we're like, it's a benefit for cancer. And he's like, I don't care. So that was Old Weeping. Like that happened. And then the band was just nothing for like until I started like writing again and like thinking about it in like late 2019. And then during COVID, I did like the majority of like, I started writing the demo in like the summertime and then had it done in November.
Yeah. So that would explain why 2016 to 2020, there wasn't like a ton going on.
Yeah. Did you find the old demo or
one
no?
song a year? Like what?
Did you find the old demo and you're digging or no?
No, I did not find. No, I
okay, good. You don't want to hear it. I'm telling you, just take my word for it. Not worth it.
You don't want to hear it.
No, yeah, I want to hear it. I have dug and not with your band, but I've dug with other bands, and then I'm like I get all excited that I finally found something, and then I was like, oof, maybe I shouldn't have found that.
It's so crazy when I like go on YouTube and I find like the demos for like, you know, like all like the big bands from like even like I guess like the East Coast from like the 90s, like the Dying Fetus demo is amazing, the Afterbirth demo is amazing, the Eternal Bleeding demo is amazing, and I'm like wow, this is all from like before they got big. Some of the songs get re-recorded like later down the line, but like their initial idea was so good, and then like I'm like the Weeping demo, I'm like, that is the worst thing I could have ever thought of. It's crazy to think about like the disparity in like talent.
What
So
about
a question about the producer? You said the producer is in Florida. How did you hook up with that guy, Hunter, you mentioned?
Yeah, Hunter Young is he plays guitar in a band called Body Box now. But when we initially met up with him, it was before like Body Box had like taken off. But he was in these other bands. He was in a band called Culture Killer, and then he's also in a band called Graveview. And he used to manage Pigeon's old band called Borderlines, like back in the day in like 2014. So he just like knew him, and he saw that he was doing like death metal production for like, he was like doing some other bands that we liked, like Flesh Driver, and I think he was doing the other band I'm blanking on. But anyways, Pigeon contacted him and he was down. So we were like, all right, cool. Like, can we get to Florida? And like, we figured it out. And, you know, we drove down there, and in 4 days we recorded the 5 songs, and yeah, the rest is history from there.
Yeah, as you're saying his name, I was like, I know I was just talking about this dude like a few weeks ago, and I think he recorded the Cardinal Ruin.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He did do the Cardinal Ruin record.
Yeah. So I was actually listening to the Graveview stuff. That the Graveview stuff is really good.
Yeah, I really like it. That's like some of my favorite like newer death metal. I'm a big sucker for the HM2 tones.
Your artwork. Who's doing the artwork? The red thing is pretty cool. I dug that.
Yeah, that was Stuart Cole. He's from Australia. He did the I don't know if he did, I think he did the last 2 of Feather and Bone albums. So that's how I found out. Like, I was just like snooping through the internet trying to find a cool artist. And I know for a fact he did the second to last one. I'm not sure if he did the most recent one, but I found out about him. He did that of Feather and Bone record, and he happened to respond to my email, so I got lucky. But the idea of like a dude with like his head in his hands was like a weird kind of like, I just like felt that like for some reason, and I said that to him, and for some reason he just got it and just was able to just do exactly what was in my head. Like that was like, I just told him like, hey, red stuff, and then the dude with his head in his hands, and he was like, got it. And then like he sent it to me, and I'm like, I'm very impressed that you just were able to make this with such little like actual instruction. But yeah, I'm still really stoked on how it came out. That was like, it's like one of my favorite pieces that I really haven't commissioned much art, but yeah, of other art that I've seen too, I really like it. So
yeah, I keep seeing Australian bands, and I'm like, I should book them to be on the show. And then I'm like, yeah, but when are we going to do the call? Like at 2 in the morning or like in 2 in the afternoon? Like, oh my God, this is not going to work.
Huge time.
We had
you have to get them when they're on tour in the States. Then they can do like a room Zoom thing. But that's super complicated. But I think it's down the line. I think we're gonna do it.
Technological advance will happen.
Yeah.
We had a Feather and Bone on. Eric missed it though.
That's right.
But
had to work, unfortunately. But actually, you can check out the interview.
You can check out.
I will.
It was cool. It was a good guy. What are we talking about? We talked about the Greek stuff. You are hooked up with Mind Decay in something I saw somewhere.
Yeah, like there's no real like official thing. Tage is just our friend who like shows up to shows, and then he was like,
films.
Yeah, he just shows up. He goes, "Can I film?" And we're like, "Yeah, dude. Why would we say no?" And he's just like, he's a cool kid, so he just hangs out, talks to us, and films things.
Yeah, I've never met him in person, but I seem to like the same stuff he likes, I guess, because we're always sort of like following each other around in weird ways. So yeah, someday I'll get to meet him. But I think it's funny because he seems to be involved. He's obviously from the same area.
Yeah.
I'm from Jersey. Eric's from Brooklyn. So we know sort of all the same people.
Yeah, that's funny because
from Brooklyn too.
He's from Brooklyn and I'm from Jersey.
Oh, interesting. All right, where in Brooklyn are you at?
Well, I live
Don't
in
give
Staten
us your
Island.
home address. Just
Yeah.
Staten Island. All right.
I grew up in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Oh shit, that's where I'm coming from, Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Nice. Right now?
Yeah, I live in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. Weird. Small
Nice.
world. I didn't know that. Super small world. Interesting.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. Now, if I see somebody, I wonder if I ever saw you walking down the street, like, oh, that guy's a death metal T-shirt. Like,
you'd think that you'd see more people with like death metal T-shirts on in public, right? But then like every time I do, it's like an event. I'm like, yo.
Not a lot in Bay Ridge either. I've seen a couple people though with some death metal shirts in Bay Ridge. But
I was in like the middle of nowhere, PA, and I was wearing a Deicide shirt. And this old dude like was just like, I guess I used the word the old a little sparingly, but he looked like at least like 60. And he like just walked by and he just like very casually just said, broke out the old Deicide shirt today, huh? And it just made my day. It was great. He was with his like wife. Like they both just looked very unimpressed. Like
it's funny. It's funny.
I've had experiences like that. Like I was at and my wife would always be with me and she'd be mortified. But I'd be like at the grocery store and like the guy checking us out would be like, "Oh, you like Obituary? I love Obituary." And my wife would just be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening." Because he'd be like some fucking metal long-haired dude, like, this type of guy that would make my wife's skin crawl, and she'd be like, "Oh."
Just like some scuzzy teenager.
Yeah, she'd be like, "Why do you think you're cool now that you're like you're relating to the cashier and you both can find some common ground over some band called Obituary?" Sorry.
At least Obituary is like pretty tame. Like you could like, you know what I mean? Like in terms of like the name just being Obituary, like we may think that that's like normal, but like to other people that's still like tier 1 scary. Like, you know what I mean? But it could be worse. It could be like some like band that's like Face Fuck or something like that. It's like if you're like in the grocery store, you're like, oh no.
Yeah, but I've also had that thing where, like I'm at totally unmetal related events, like my kid's hockey game or something, and I'll see somebody with like a Black Dahlia shirt or something, and I'll be like, "No, I should talk to that dude," but like I'm wearing like CCM or something. I don't even look like a metal dude. Is this, does he want to talk to me? I feel like we should talk about metal, but we're at a hockey game. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always like the weird like decision, because like it could go like, "Yo, sick shirt, thanks," and you're just staring at him awkwardly.
Yeah, and I can't say I'm above having like one of those super awkward conversations either. I think a lot of metalheads and comic geeks and all these other people, like it's all full of awkward, so
I feel like you just have to accept it. Like I like every time like people say to me like, "Yo, you're not awkward," but every time I say something, I'm like, that was weird. Like, why do I speak? Like,
speaking of like metalheads and speaking of Bay Ridge before, like I like there weren't a lot of metalheads around Bay Ridge, but like the ones that were around were super nice. Like I met some guy, and it may sound weird off the bat, but like me and him would just like run into each other on the street, and we realized that we lived close to each other. So like he like bought my first Summer Slaughter ticket and gave me like
That's sick.
he gave me a ride and everything. I didn't feel weird because he was with his wife. So it wasn't just like some weird, He was cool, man.
Yeah,
like,
that's cool. He put you on.
Yeah,
That's sick.
like I got nowhere to go. I got no way to get there. He just bought me the ticket and I went with.
Damn,
it was fun.
That's awesome. It's a heartwarming story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
And it's like when you found them, it's like it was rare. So
yeah,
all respect.
Yeah, so it's like one extreme or the other. It's thanks or like literally I'll pay for your ticket to Summer Slaughter.
I know that's like an extreme positive one. Yes,
It's Brooklyn.
What is the band's plans for the future? Are you going to work on a full length? Are you going to try and play more shows? What's the future?
Well, I mean, both of those things, but we have some things that I recently went to Florida and recorded guitars, bass, and vocals, and then John recorded drums up here in Timber Studios in New York. So we have not New York, New Jersey, and Bayonne, and so we have a few songs. I'm not like I've said it already, yeah. So it's 3 songs, but yeah, the release date on all that is a little to be determined at the moment. So we have some new stuff for everybody, but then we have already started working on a full length and just more music and, hopefully more other stuff to go with music to be a little more out of the box,
Cool.
So yeah, we got a lot going on. We're also playing like a good bit of shows from like now until like the end of the year. We have a lot of stuff that we haven't announced yet. That'll be pretty cool. So keep an eye out.
Cool.
Yeah, let's just close it up by just talking about who your buddy bands are and who we can look forward to seeing you playing with.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bands on Frozen Screams that if you check them out, like you'll also see that we're playing with. Like we have already played with Blemish, but we are playing some more shows with Blemish. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. Very like doomy, kind of like sludgy death metal. There's a band that recently put out a release called Curse that we're playing a show with this Friday that are really good. What other bands we've played with? What's we played with? Those like, because we played a lot of like mixed bill shows too. So there's a lot of bands that like we played with that like, don't sound anything like us. So, those bands are also cool. There's some like local homies, but then all the bands that are like more like if you like Weeping, you'd probably like these other death metal bands more than like some of these like random like metalcore bands that we played with that are good but different. We played with Gloves Off, they're good. We also played with Targeted, they're like a beatdown band from New York. Who else? Beastial Tongues, if you like grind, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they're good. I listened to some of their stuff. They're definitely like a cool grindcore band.
Yeah, I've listened. They have another release coming out. I've had the privilege of already hearing it and knowing that it's gonna rip. But definitely look out for that because that's gonna rip. But yeah, those are most of the bands. We also obviously are good friends and very fond of Graveview and Body Box from Florida. War Flirts from Florida is also really good. I could go on all day, but how many bands am I going to list?
But we'll put some links in the description
cool.
for people who want to check out new bands. I'm actually didn't know all of those names, so I will probably check them out too.
Awesome. So
very cool for me. And that's about it. I'm sort of at the end of my notes. Eric, what you're good or?
That's all I got.
I still can't believe you guys went down to Florida to record. Like that seems crazy to me, but
no, you like the production.
Yeah, if you like it sounds awesome. The new EP does sound really good. So I understand why you went down there.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely worth it, but it's like to an extent like I sometimes feel like I'm very neurotic about our music and like how it sounds, and like I feel like I've had some situations where I've like worked with producers that, may be very talented and maybe very good, but if they don't like understand like what you're going for as an artist, then it may be a lost cause sometimes, obviously not every time. But Hunter was somebody that I knew from the get-go was just going to get what we were going for and be able to make it like, you know, just translate well onto the record, because there's a lot of good music that just doesn't sound good on the record because of, you know, whatever. It's, you know, the space between you and the recording, you know, there's something sometimes, you know what I mean? So like, you got to find somebody who will, I don't know, keep the necessary things and get rid of the things that, you know, would take away from the songs. So Hunter was that guy for sure. And, you know, we've worked with him further and continue to work with him. And it just seems like he's just always on the same page as us. And I need that because, I don't know, I'm very specific and I don't really like compromising the idea, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because I've been in the studio sometimes, or it's been a long time, but I definitely remember times when engineers or whoever was recording would, you know, either just say that didn't work or that did work, or, you know, and you need that. And sometimes they didn't say something and they should have. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I didn't hear the first Weeping demo that you disliked so much, but like I definitely recall like some of my early demos. Like I feel like, oh, so why didn't somebody just say like don't like that didn't work? You know, don't fucking do that.
And I think that what's cool about Hunter is that he's very like, you know, how some producers would tell you like don't do that. He's always like, I have an idea. Like, you know what I mean? It's very proactive in that respect, where he has like a lot of really good ideas that'll just come out of nowhere and like add tons to the song. So, you know, he's also like, it's very like, I think that when you have like a very specific thing in mind for what you're doing with your music, having a producer who's like hands-on in the respect that they can even just kind of like be there to like coach you, like in like the moment of you doing it. Like he's very like in there, like as far as like the actual recording process. So like, I don't know, like for every take, it's like, I can tell that you're doing this take differently. Do it more like this, like stuff like that, like little mindset things really, I feel like set the bar way higher, you know?
Shit.
Cool. Well, I think, yep. No, I really, I guess we'll wrap it up. I really appreciate you guys coming on and spending time bullshitting about your stuff. You know, it's great that you guys live local to us so that we can come out and see you at some point, where a lot of times we talk to California bands and we're like, yeah, maybe.
See you sometime.
Yeah, eventually. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys soon in person. Thank you for having us on, man. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, excellent. And we'll keep in touch, and we'll have you guys on again at some point. You know, do that full length and let's.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
We will.
Okay, cool. Thanks for joining, everybody. Bye.